Hello ladies and gentlemen, Pork Chopper here. Today I'm going to be discussing the new hero Zinx, talking a bit about what she can and can't do, plus some card interactions with her kit and how she fits into the game, which of course will be changing in 3 weeks. Let me know what you think of Zinx down below in the comments. So Zinx is primarily an offlaner. I don't see her having much success in the mid lane because she has no poke and her wave clear, especially early on, is very weak. She is a late game hero once she has enough mana and card points to really suit her tanky self. Zinx is a sustain hero that benefits from her passive ultimate, which gives her extra mana regen depending on her missing mana, and if activated will heal 50% of incoming damage. Each point of healing received is a point of mana taken away. This means her health is more her mana pool than anything else. You get her mana low and she will become very vulnerable. Her early game is rather weak, and in the offlane it's more about getting to level 5 as soon as possible. Before then you have to be careful, and luckily she is a ranged hero so you can get those last hits from range. I don't feel there is one specific ability you want to upgrade first, but Kitty Claws or Bad Medicine would be best to help with wave clear or poking the enemy safe lane. Bad Medicine is damage over time effect in an area which you can charge up for around a second. The more you charge up, the longer range it will have. The ability, especially early game, really doesn't do that much damage even for wave clearing, but on enemies it can be a decent zoning tool, but unless you can keep enemies locked down in a certain area, with say Dekka's containment field for example, I would only use that ability to wave clear, and like I said, it doesn't do that well until late game, so her split pushing potential isn't that great compared to say a Countess with her Dark Tide. The reason the damage here is so low is because her Cause, which is a toggle of her basic attack to deal damage over 3 seconds, is very strong. Yes, it costs a lot of mana, but if you can get multiple hits in with it, it does stack up, and before the enemy knows it, they need to back off or risk dying. Ricochet Stun is her other ability and her only crowd control one. It's a medium range projectile that stacks a stun the more targets it hits. So first you have to hit a target directly, not in an AoE. You have to make sure the disc hits the target, which will get an initial stun, and as long as there's an enemy within a 650 unit range, it will ricochet to that target, stunning them a little more, and on and so on. It cannot stun the same target twice, and depending on the upgrade level, how many enemies it can ricochet off, and the first stun length is increased. This could be great with minion waves like against this Revenant. I keep poking him and get him low, and then use the stun on the minions which bounces off to him to make it easier to inflict more damage. If I was more used to Zinx here, I probably could have used my ultimate to tank the tower damage and finish him off, but this was one of my first games with her in PvP. It's also good to use to escape from death, as seen here me running away from stunning all 3 of these enemies to give me a chance to get away. If you can aim it high enough, you can auto stun a Gideon out of his ultimate unless he's super high off the ground. Something to note there if you ever are against a Gideon and don't have another stun to deal with his ultimate. Main way I would use this is to lock down a certain hero for my team and me so I don't miss my Kitty Claw shots. With the stun I can get around 2 of Kitty Claw shots off rather easily. Zinx is meant to be a very aggressive hero once her ultimate is up, and each time you upgrade her ultimate it gets a lot better with a bigger power spike for her. She is good in team fights with how much damage she can absorb, having some sort of CC2, and her poking Kitty Claws means she can deal good amounts of damage also on certain targets. So if you can get into the backline and absorb a lot of damage and start poking away at that carry, at that support or caster, it can stack up to a lot, but you don't really want to use it on tanks. Cards I would recommend on her are Teleblink for an escape. Clear Heart does increase the healing she gets from her ultimate. Maybe some attack speed so you can get more Kitty Claw shots off quicker. Mana over mana regen, because with her ultimate, the more mana you have, the more mana regen you will get from missing mana percentage. So in this case, building mana over mana regen is advised. Also, Tainted Magic does not work with Kitty Claws, so no extra stacks of damage there, nor does Ash of the Witch, which doesn't work with Kitty Claws but does work with Bad Medicine. Maybe that's something to hint at with the new card rework, that Ash of the Witch and Tainted Magic won't be working in the new update. But it's not worth using both these cards, as it may seem on paper it's great, but actually in reality they don't work at all, so just don't use the cards. Epic has said themselves she is a hero designed for the new update, so I'm not surprised certain cards don't work on her and that she feels slightly underwhelming. A late game hero which is decently skilled and can be really good in the late game. She's just missing something about her to make it really useful, and is similar to a Greystone with how tanky she can be, but I would always pick him over a Zinx. but that's really my first impressions of her. I did enjoy her kit and skill shots like Ricochet Stun, which was so much fun to land, and she is a very unique hero for Paragon. Just looking forward to seeing her full potential with the new update on August the 8th. But anyway, thank you all very much for watching. Like, comment, share and subscribe for all the latest news, guides, tips on Paragon, and I'll see you all next time.